One of the reasons we all love the amazing digital circus is the detail of every aspect of the show, starting with the elaborate plot and the mysterious secrets of the digital circus world. And of course, the great pleasure of watching the show is brought by the elaborate three-dimensional graphics and pleasant for the viewer memorable style, design of locations and characters. Animators do a lot of hard work on every little detail on the screen, but of course, during the long development process, the quality of the final result and graphic images do not stand still. In this video, I would like to compare for you the first and second episode of Amazing Digital Circus. I will try to give you an answer to the question, which development path was traveled between the episodes, and which of them can be considered more successful. By the way, somewhere in the video, I hid a photo of Pomni, and anyone who finds it will get one interesting theory in the comments. And I'd like to start with the pre-production phase of both episodes of the show. Before the release of Pilot, Gooseworks and Glitch also posted various materials, teasers, and footage from the episode. I'd like to compare the trailers for Episode 1 and Episode 2. The trailer for Episode 1 gave a better idea of what events await us in the pilot itself. There was almost nothing there to hide. A significant amount of the first episode's timing was devoted to exposition. The audience needed to be brought up to speed. We were given a general understanding of what the show would be about and what it would be about. We were revealed who our characters are, what Digital Circus is, and what will roughly happen next. We got a basic understanding of each character and personality at the beginning of the pilot. Pomni is scared as she has just found herself in such an unsettling position and also suffers from paranoid thoughts. Jax has his characteristic quirks and loves to perform pranks on the others. In doing so, he often takes the role of a leader and motivates all the characters to move forward and undergo adventures. Ragatha gave the impression of being the most honest, open, and friendly of all. She was the one who most often gave the most straightforward explanations to Pomni about what was going on in the moment. Zubul is passive and hates new adventures, so she doesn't want to take part in anything. Kinger has been in the digital circus the longest, and his true character remains a mystery, as he behaves very strangely and inconsistently. He's constantly lost around the events that are happening. Gangle becomes apathetic and unwilling to make contact with anyone when her mask of joy is damaged. All that remained unknown to us after the release of the teasers and trailer in the pilot was Kaufmo's appearance and footage of his room. But a few days before the release of Pilot, we were even shown an abstracted Kaufmo. There was a part of him sticking out of the passageway to his room. I'd say the teasers and trailer for the first episode gave us pretty much a good idea of what to expect. In doing so, they did their job of bringing attention to the new project. However, almost no intrigue was saved by the time the episode itself was released. The pilot's task was to form an idea of the show's setting, so what was happening didn't seem like a big surprise. The situation was quite different when the second episode was released. The pilot had already gathered enough fans and made the amazing digital circus known around the world. A much larger number of viewers were expecting the second episode than the first one. Therefore, the second episode was able to break the 70 million views mark in just 4 days since its premiere. That being said, the trailers and teasers for the second episode played a very different role than they did in the pilot. As Gooseworks noted in Tumblr, no one was able to predict the plot of the second episode. Its events were far less predictable than those of the pilot. Until the trailer of all the upcoming new episodes and a large number of teasers, we had absolutely no way to create theories that were remotely similar to the actual events of Episode 2. We only got our first glimpse of the second episode after repeatedly showing off a large number of new characters and a new location. Also, some clarity was provided by teasers that showed some scenes from the released episode. The Episode 2 teasers did their job even better than the pilot teasers. They gave us some insight into what's in store for us next. That being said, the intrigue was maintained until the very end of the second episode. The plot was truly unpredictable, and most of our guesses were wrong. But it's important to realize that the teasers successfully attracted the viewer's attention to the new episode, and with that, the second episode was interesting to watch from start to finish. That being said, many of the teasers did not appear in the second episode. Because of this, many scenes that we expected to see simply did not appear in the new episode. This also added a non-triviality to the storyline, and was a surprise to me. All of these teasers may relate to future episodes, or they may not appear at all. Let's discuss the graphical changes in Episode 2. Many people noticed that Jax's design received minor changes. His skin started to look more shiny and glossy. In my opinion, Jax's design hasn't gotten worse at all, and the new look makes Jax even more expressive in his facial expressions. I would like to focus on Pomni's facial expressions separately. At the end of the pilot, Pomni's face took on a very strange expression, and most people couldn't understand what the character was feeling. Gooseworks explained that Pomni was very angry with Kane at this point. In the second episode, Pomni's facial expression got better at conveying what she was feeling in her emotional moments. This is due to the fact that the main animator, Kevin Temmer this time, filmed the facial expressions of himself and played emotional moments live. This gave the animators a clearer idea of what the characters' faces should be like in each frame. The second episode also changed the set of details on Zubal's body. Gooseworks had previously said that Zubal's design would change slightly in each new episode. She changes the parts on her body when she pulls new ones out of a special box in her room. Incidentally, Gooseworks was once asked on Tumblr what her favorite Zubal design was then. Gooseworks replied that her favorite was the version of Zubal from episode 4. I have a little theory about this. If episode 3 is going to be all about Zubal, and according to Gooseworks, we're in for some brutal moments and a lot of character development, then Zubal's design will undergo a major change after episode 3. She may have to assemble her body from all new parts. Or Zubal will make it out of the digital circus, in which case Gooseworks' favorite Zubal design is her human design. In the second episode, among other things, we saw much more of Gangle in the Mask of Joy than we did in the pilot. Her facial expressions are much different in the Joy mask, and we were able to see many more new facial expressions. Also, Gangle's voice without and with the Joy mask has significant differences in voice and timbre, so the voice actress had to work harder to convey Gangle's emotional state. In my opinion, we saw some nice development of Kinger's character in the second episode. In the pilot, Kinger seemed like a completely unself-sufficient and distraught man in the digital circus. It seemed like he could do something horrible at any moment just by being scared of someone and mistakenly injuring others. In the second episode, Kinger seemed more sensible and appropriate to me, and his actions were more consistent. Though Kinger's weirdness is many, he was very reasonable in supporting Regatha when she was worried about Pomni. At that moment, he sounded like the most senior and experienced person in life out of the entire group. The second episode also introduced a character that was the most challenging of all for the animators to work on. We learned from Kevin Temmer's video that the animators made the decision to hand-draw all the details of the fudge monster. It was incredibly difficult, but in the end the monster really does look like a creature made up of chocolate fudge. To summarize, I conclude that the second episode was able to replicate the success of the first episode, was more technically advanced, and improved on all the good things we loved about the first episode. What do you think about it? Which episode is better in your opinion? The first or the second? Which design of Jax do you think is better? How will Zubal's design change in episode 4? Write your theories in the comments and I'll be sure to read them. The best ones will make it into the next video. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Good luck everyone, and bye-bye!